Hello, my lovely artists and friends. I'm happy to see you again, and we're gonna continue our lessons dedicated to perspective. And today, as I mentioned this probably last time, we will speak about the different kind of type of perspective, which is will help you to create the landscape with perspective. And it's really important to know about perspective when you're creating the landscape, because that's the main point for us always when we're trying to make a drawing or painting, to create the environment which is gonna look like something what you already see, and something would capture your attention outside, and you want to deliver that beautiful place and show that to your your painting lovers or your family members, and just learn something new. So I will show you today a few interesting examples, and we're gonna speak about some theory how to actually create that landscape with the very interesting object as the bridge. So that's gonna be the landscape with the bridge today. That's our topic for painting. And first of all, I want to show you some pictures and photography too, just to inspire you and get you some ideas about how some artists create that environment and what they do, and what actually capture their attention, why they decided to do it. First of all, this is the one of the picture of Hawaiian bridge that's on the main island of Oahu. And this is one of the oldest bridge there. I like that symmetry of this bridge, because the bridges most of the time they have symmetry, so they have by the way how they constructed, they probably should, they might be asymmetrical, but the most of them for some reason has the symmetry because they have two sides, and that the main point and purpose of the bridge to connect two sides of the river or channel or something which has to be connected. Okay, so I want to show you another beautiful picture, and that's the actually just not only the photography, but it actually has the composition, and it's about the person who is crossing that bridge, and that's of course it's if you probably recognize, that's the Venetian environment, that's the landscape with the bridge in Venice, and you can see the part of the gondola on the front and one on the other side of the bridge. Really pretty composition. Another picture I want to show you, this actually in Moscow, and this is one of the bridges right in the front of old architectural building, as the composition of the bridge in the front of the one of the religion architectural ensemble. And I want to show you also the very famous bridge, which is in London, England, and this is the Tower Bridge. Even the name of this bridge telling by itself about what kind of construction they use and what they want to do. The older bridges, they are usually very pretty because the architectural idea which is in that construction, usually they inspired by something, or they were kind of like, you know, deliver not only the construction which is gonna help to connect two sides, it's also the beautiful and remarkable piece of environment. So that's the thing about the bridge, that's not only has the purpose, but it's also part of the beautiful architectural environment. And this bridge you probably will recognize right over here. This is the bridge, Brooklyn Bridge, and this is one of my favorite bridge. For some reason I really like it, And it's what I really like about this, that's the way how it's constructed, and the way how the perspective going. So here I want to kind of attract your attention to the way how actually bridge looks from the distance, because if you can see here in the picture, the one tower of this bridge is bigger, and another one which is going far away, it's has the smaller size. So same thing on this picture, when I have the tower bridge, the one tower is bigger, another one, because it's going farther, it's smaller. Same thing happening here, where's the Golden Gate Bridge, and one of the tower of the Golden Gate Bridge, which is in San Francisco, California, and another one is far away, is much more smaller. But it also depends on the way how it's located on your picture, because if you remember on this picture, the both of the towers, this has the beautiful reflection, but they are the same size because they're straight in the front of you. It's the same as when we were painting interior. You can remember when we have the back wall and everything which was connected to back wall doesn't have any changes, doesn't experience any changes, because from the point of view where you are, it's just exactly symmetrical. So everything which is go farther away, that's gonna have the shrinkage, and it's gonna become smaller, visually smaller, because you are closer to the part which is in the front of you of this bridge, and another part is far away. So if you take that point of view, that's how it's gonna look. Same thing here with that architectural building behind. This bridge doesn't really change much because it's like in a straight position in the front of you. Same thing with this bridge in Venice. It doesn't change much because it's right in the front of you. I want to show you a few composition from the artist, and they have the same kind of difference in the composition, because for instance this composition doesn't have any changes, it doesn't experience any changes, so because the bridge is right in the front of you. And this composition by Selden Connor Guile, and this is Desert Bridge, and that's from the one of the California artists. I want to show you the very famous composition by Edward Munch. In this composition was this lady's on a bridge, and you can see that the bridge actually experience the perspective movement on it, because from the side over here, that rail on the bridge, it's a kind of like the bridge probably which is allowed people walk, so the rail goes far away, and it's become smaller and smaller. So that's how the artist showing the perspective. And another composition I have for you to see, this is the composition from collection John and R.V. Beck. I like their collection because it has like very colorful, beautiful pictures. And this is another composition with the ladies on a bridge with umbrellas, and you can see that actually that bridge goes farther away, and you can see that by the shrinkage of the figures of the people, because the figures in the front, they're much more larger than the other ones, which is farther away. So that's how you're showing the perspective on the particular angle. When you have this angle, that's how your bridge gonna look. If it doesn't go farther away and you don't have that angle, it's just gonna be the same. As you can see, the part of the bridge will be the same, like in this picture. Right over here, the bridge is right in front of you, so it doesn't experience any perspective shrinkage. And this composition by the Spanish author Francisco Ceballos, that's his composition. It seems like he likes bridges because the composition above that has the bridge too, but it's more looks like the part of the actually dam, which is close to the river bank, I believe so. So I think that this is it for the inspiration, which is I want to show you just for the kind of getting to know the subject and kind of get ready for just your composition and perspective on what exactly you're gonna do. So my suggestion is start composition with the bridge, which is gonna have the perspective, because that's gonna be important for you to learn something. Otherwise, if you're gonna put the bridge right in the front, so that's not gonna be something which is you will learn from that. It's gonna be just another practice for your composition, but it's not gonna be the perspective. What I want to show you here, this one of my favorite bridges. It's a Golden Gate Bridge in California, San Francisco, and as you can see, the rockers here, the point of view on this bridge contain the perspective shrinkage. So if you can see in the front, the bigger a tower, and if it goes farther, that tower becomes smaller, and all the parts of this bridge become smaller. This bridge I will paint for you so that you can see what's the idea about the perspective and how to actually put it right in your practice. And this bridge I know the most because I was passing this bridge for 17 years, and I think that it's just gonna be the kind of interesting experience for me to paint that. And I will show you a few composition which is my students did. And of course it's Golden Gate Bridge. That's the view on Golden Gate Bridge. And as you can see that the towers actually in a good layer of perspective. So the perspective which is actually helps you to create the right image of the bridge and make it recognizable. So if you learn how to do it, that's gonna help you to work on composition contain any perspective. So this is another picture of the Golden Gate Bridge, and this is a view from another side on this bridge. So that's from marina, where the people actually can go on yacht for the beautiful ride under the bridge, and they can just walk with dogs around the place. So that's the actually very nice work. When you can see it's a beautiful day somewhere there by the Golden Gate Bridge, and the Golden Gate Bridge actually in a pretty good perspective here in the picture. And another one that you can see, that's not only my students choose the Golden Gate Bridge because I like that. That's actually the composition of the Tower Bridge. And the Tower Bridge here, it's not actually in a very high definition composition of perspective, because here the towers looks pretty close to each other in the size, so you can see the size of them not very different, but still you can tell that the bridge kind of a little bit kind of turned to direction going farther to the side. So that's it, I guess, for the composition. And then we will just start your creation of the bridge first, and then you can come up with some details on that composition, and I will help you to kind of realize what to start with. So first of all, you need your paper, and the paper will be in a horizontal way, and you need your pencil and the eraser. Might be eraser needed as much today as probably never you guys use it before, because that's a pretty not very hard to make that composition with the bridge, but it takes some skills. So I recommend you to practice before you actually will start working on your bigger size of the paper. So first of all, just make a little sketch, try to get grip on it, and then you transfer that to your main picture. So I already suggest you that option before, when you are not very sure if you can do it from the first time. So make a little sketch. That's what artists do. Okay, so and I will get ready and will show you what I did with my. Okay, before you started, guys, I just want to show you one of my favorite books about perspective. It's Perspective Without Pain, and this is the same author, Phil Metzger. And I just want to show you what he is saying about the bridge's perspective. And if you can see here, it's that bridge even has the arches. So the arches, to make them, it kind of takes time and patience to create them, because in a perspective they're not gonna look the same, especially when it's like not only one of them. But the first of all, disregard the arches. I just want to show you what exactly and how to start that when you will start your bridge, and how to start, because you will think like, should I just start from something in the front of me, or should I just put it in perspective? If you remember our room interior perspective, we were trying to create a box which has two walls, which is experience the perspective, because they're going kind of shrink all the way to the far away how it's going. And same thing with the bridge. It's not gonna go like in infinity, but it's definitely will go farther, because what bridge does, that's connect two places, one bank of the river and another one. So basically it's gonna be in perspective just by default. So that's what's happening. It's just going from the bigger part going farther away. Same thing with the constructing of the bridge. What we have to do, we have to find where's the middle of this bridge, and all our lines will kind of go into that further perspective. But you have to keep in your mind that's the middle of the bridge, it's in the middle of the river somewhere, and then after that's going to be the other part of the bridge. So kind of divide this on two parts. And what will help you, first of all, to kind of make the decision for yourself, what's your eye level, so from which place you're looking. So that's one of the line that's going to be kind of like when we were painting the face, our line in the middle was the part of our symmetry, which is we use to make the face symmetrical. Same thing, it's very important to have that main lines to creating and constructing your bridge. First of all, the eye level will be somewhere where you decided your looking point is, where it is. Same thing, if you find this level, eye level, you need to figure it out by crossing two lines from one side to another, where is the middle of the bridge. And so that's basically your rectangle. The whole idea of the bridge, it's just two lines go somewhere into infinity, but you catch it by the two sides of this bridge, and then you make the cross lining, which is help you to find the middle of the bridge. And that point, the middle of the bridge, will help you to create the right perspective. So how it's going to be in our drawing, I will show you. So first of all, because I'm gonna paint the Golden Gate Bridge, I will have two towers, which is on the side of the bridge. And first, what I'm gonna do, I just gonna create the way how my bridge gonna look, and from which eye level I'm looking at that, because the bridge will be kind of a little bit higher than my eye level, because I will paint that from the ocean level, and the bridge gonna be higher than the ocean level, of course. So what I'm doing, first of all, is that author of this book about perspective, he is saying that you need two lines. The main lines was gonna show first of all where's the beginning of the bridge and where's the ending of the bridge. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna kind of find the way how my bridge gonna get into my composition. So first of all, this is gonna be the first tower, which is gonna be somewhere here, because that's what I think will be right and appropriate. You know, where you painting your bridge, of course you have to have something in the front of you, picture, or you can go on a plein air and try to paint the bridge which is next to your house. So it has to be something in the front of you, because then If you don't have it, if you will try to create it just from your head, top of your head, then you're not gonna see how exactly the bridge gonna go farther, and where's your eye level point, and how that's gonna go into perspective. Because the easy composition, when the bridge right in front of you and doesn't experience any perspective, it actually will be easy. But if you just want to paint something which is actually will contain the perspective, and it's gonna get farther and smaller, so then you need it in the front of you. So I'm just gonna use that picture in order that I can actually see what's going on, and I will put it in the front of me. Usually if I need to copy something or use for inspiration, I have a little easel like that for the pictures, so that I can put my picture on it, and then it's easy for me to use it. So I will just put it on that little easel for myself to look, so that I can see how the perspective works on my picture. So first of all, this is the eye level, and like I said, my eye level, I'm a little bit down by the ocean, so that the bridge is right above of me. So this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to create that perspective, which is gonna help me to locate the bridge with my eye level. And as I tell you that you might use your eraser later, because you're not gonna catch that perspective in the right place for the bridge right away. So because you just unleash yourself and let yourself to work with that, because I'm showing you the whole thing right now, so that you can see what I start from and how that's gonna go. That will be two parts. That's why it's going to be two parts of our lesson, because I don't want you to drop anything from that, because that's the one of the most hard perspective to do, the perspective of architectural building, which is going farther away in perspective. So, but the harder task you take, the more you learn. That's what I always think, and that's why when I paint my bridge, I think that that will be helpful for you to accomplish this task, so that you will feel like you actually can do the very hard work. So I just want, first of all, I want to find where's my bridge will end on the top. So I think that I will end it right here, because the reason why, I just don't want my bridge to go farther in the end of the top of the picture, like here. I just want to have this on my picture, because this way it's kind of interrupted, and I don't like, maybe for photography it's okay, but for my composition, because I want to make a pretty composition, I will just use the whole size of the bridge, so that will be easier for me to get the details and everything. So that's why I just need to get the right size of my bridge, so that's not going to be too big, so then I can find the right perspective for my other tower. So, and my other tower will be there, so that I can it has the cables, because the golden gate has the cables, which is actually keep that bridge stable. So this is gonna be, I think there's gonna be the right size, so then it's gonna be the other side of cables right here, and that's the heels there. The heels will be right on that side, and the ocean will right there, and that's gonna be another side there in the rocks. Yeah, why not? So I can have the part of the beach part where I can see the waves, and some rocks will be there. And here I remember that actually that part has that concrete part, so it doesn't show on this picture, but it has that. So that's the part of the bridge. So basically this is just a very raw drawing, and now I just want to put it into the knowledgeable drawing, so which is gonna show that I actually know what I'm doing. Is that author here showing what you have to do. You have to have enough lining, eye level, two sides of the bridge, top and bottom, and the middle of the bridge, so that you can actually have the right perspective. So direction, it's most important, because that's what creates the perspective. Because my direction of the bridge, if you can see, it goes right over there. So this is my top line, the top line, and that's the bottom line. Right? And the eye level, I'm standing here, and my eye level will be right over here. And then I need to find the middle of the bridge. So then I just get the line from one side to another, and the line from another side to another. So this is my middle of the bridge. That's where the bridge has divided on two parts. And you can see that actually the middle of the bridge will be visually closer to the other side of the bridge. Why? Because of the perspective, right? So what we're doing right now, we're recreating in 2D, we're recreating our 3D image, which is actually our life. It's contains 3D, and so when we're drawing something, we have to create that on our 2D to make it look like it's just a 3D image. But because we don't have the third one, we have to use the tricks which is we learn when we learn how to paint and how to make it right. So what we're doing right now, we're recreating the perspective. As I said to you before when we did the interior, that all these lines, they will contact somewhere in the one, because that's how the road, when you see the road, it goes farther away, somewhere where it's get connected together. So same thing with the perspective, because that's not going straight, it's going on the side, and so that's we're not gonna see where it's that connected, but we are assuming, we keep it in our mind that it has connection somewhere farther away. So what we do from the raw drawing, which is I did, now I like kind of use the right constructive drawing, which is help me to create the right perspective. So my bridge gonna have the eye level, it's gonna have the middle of the bridge, which is right over there. It's gonna have the towers, which is gonna be straight, and they are in perspective. The perspective of this bridge gonna be kind of a little bit on the left hand side, shuffle to the left hand side, because this part it's closer to us, that part is farther. So that's why this part will be smaller, because the bridge and my viewpoint, it's on this side of the bridge. So everything which just goes farther will be in perspective. So that's why when we're doing that, we keep in our mind how that's all gonna go. So basically now I'm just gonna clear my cables and I'll find the right lining. And after when I do that, I can start with colors. So you can leave the oldest construction lines for you because you're just practicing, and that's why it's important for you to have them. But later when you paint, you can use the eraser and take the too much lining. So just leave the most important ones, which is keep you going and telling you which way to paint and how that's gonna all go according by perspective. So I am just gonna clean my lines later when I finish my drawing, because besides the constructive drawing, you also need to create the image of the bridge that is gonna be the Golden Gate Bridge has the recognizable shape, and it also has the recognizable color, which is really beautiful when you have that experience. You're driving on this bridge and it's a blue sky, and there's the water is emerald color, and the bridge is almost orangey red, depends on the lights, and that's create really pretty pictures. So every time I'm passing the bridge, and every time I enjoy that view, because you can't get enough of this view. It's really pretty. And I can tell that you probably have the pretty bridges in your area where you live. So basically all bridges are beautiful. I just love bridges a lot. I have a lot of pictures in my house of different bridges, because it's just something about bridges, because it's connect, first of all, it's connect people, it's connect places, and it's not only the beautiful piece of architectural design, but it's also part of the landscape, part of our environment, and part of our life. So I just want you to be very inspired this topic, and despite of all this hardship of drawing this bridge, and kind of probably having a lot of erasing and disappointing moments first, but then when you actually clean your lines and you get your bridge on your picture, you're gonna really be proud of yourself and enjoy that, because the landscape with the bridge always looks beautiful, and you can be really proud of yourself when you get the right perspective on your picture, and you will be able to create the pretty environment on your picture. I'm gonna have not only bridge, I'm gonna have the ocean and the rocks on the front, and I guess the oldest cables, you need to really work on that so that they're gonna look right. And if you're gonna have the cables on your bridge, make sure that they go in perspective too, because they gonna be like closer to each other. If they kind of pass that point in the middle of the bridge, they're almost not gonna have any distance between them. When they're here in the front, they have, but as farther they go, the smaller distance between them you can see and experience. So that's how perspective works, unfortunately. So maybe not, maybe not unfortunately, because that's, if you know how it works, it's just maybe that's hard to do, but it's still a kind of give you the something new to learn. So, and that's why when you're gonna be very persistent on what you painting, and get the right perspective, and finally get the right image of the bridge, you're just gonna really be proud of yourself, because you will be able to show that beautiful piece of architecture. Thank you for listening, and see you when we're gonna paint on the next part of our lesson. Thank you for working very hard on this almost blueprint work, but it's very rewarding. You will see that later. Thank you. See you next time.